chickens. You know.
I, th- I, I think we are going to be live in a few minutes.
It says that we're
I know
live
we're
on
late,
Facebook.
11 minutes late, and I know a lot of people are like, where's the tea? But it should be up fairly soon. Let's see what it says. We are live on Facebook. There we go. Sorry, everyone. We've had technical difficulties. So I'm hoping, I can't really see. I'm going to have to go to my Facebook to see because it's not showing. I'm hoping that everyone, is patient enough. We're just starting our tea up again. We're usually doing this on Wednesday, but because of COVID and because of the campaign picking up after the primary, we are doing this one this week today on Thursday, but next week we may be moving it, and everyone will know by Saturday. We may be moving our tea to Tuesday. So it'll be Tuesday's Tea with Teresa. And we'll mix in a little bit of what we're calling pieces of policies as well. And to do our inaugural Welcome Back Tea with Teresa, we have Scott.
Hi.
And Scott is going to share a little bit of, a lot of actually his story in regards to our current healthcare system. My bow is not, I was trying to wear a bow today, a bow tie. So Scott unfortunately experienced something that actually has happened with many people, unfortunately, here in America in regards to our healthcare system. And today's tea will be about healthcare, and it's our healthcare system now and its effects or lack thereof, or negative effects on the current population here in America. So I am going to hand it over to Scott. He's going to tell you his story, and then we'll get into some questions and answers. If you have questions or comments, do comment in the Facebook link. You may not get a response immediately because I can't see you on the Zoom. And you guys know, usually when we do from Zoom, I don't have anyone monitoring the chat right now, but we will answer your questions afterwards. So maybe I'll pop over while Scott is speaking. So Scott, please, if you could introduce yourself and tell us briefly, just tell us what's going on. Why are you here today to talk to us about the current health system and healthcare for all?
Absolutely. First, I want to tell your viewers in advance, I'm going to be reading something direct quote from my son, which has some obscene language, and I feel it's important to make sure his words are heard word for word. Everything started back in 2019, late February. My oldest son, Daniel, moved in with me. He was 29 years old, and he'd been in a domestic dispute with his baby's mother and had to move out. When he moved in with us, he had lost his job, lost his phone, and there was an order of protection between him and his girlfriend. So he couldn't contact her, couldn't get the mail that was going there. So a few weeks after he comes home, and he's like, Pops, I went to get my medicine refilled today, and I found out my insurance had been canceled. I go, okay, Danny, not a big deal. How much is it? Tells me it's $250. The medication he was on was risperidone, which is an atypical antipsychotic with a known risk of suicide from withdrawals. Also, by the way, that same medication costs $35 in Canada. And I've heard so many things after the effect that, could have done this, could have done that. It's useless. So anyway, I was like, Danny, not a big deal. You've got an appointment with your therapist in a couple of weeks. I'm sure she can help you out. In the meantime, we'll do what we can to come up with the money. And you should call Fidelis first thing on Monday and find out why you've been canceled. He didn't call first thing on Monday. And this is such a huge mistake that he wasn't aware of. He waited a couple of days and called like April 1st or April 2nd. I'm not sure of the exact day. And found out that he missed a $20 payment to his managed Medicaid program, part of the ACA. So he made his payment on the phone that day, paid the $20. And they told him his plan would be resumed on the next billing cycle of May 1st. On April 9th, a couple weeks after this all happened, I saw his Facebook post. It was around 11:23 in the morning. He says to us, just wanted everyone to know that I love them. Saying goodbye. This world wasn't meant for me. Maybe the next life will be better. I superglued my seatbelt, double checked. I don't have the strength to open it. And I choose death by drowning because I can't get above this pain. I'm sorry for hurting those who care. This is selfish, I'm sure. But I'm staring at the water for hours now. And I've made my decision. Daniel and Hazel, I'm so fucking sorry. Daniel and Hazel are my grandchildren. It showed a picture of the cab of his truck overlooking the water. I live 5 minutes from Saratoga Lake. So being that he was staying with me, of course, that's where I thought he was. I jumped in my car and raced down to the lake. Driving so damn fast around that lake, nobody should drive around that fast. I don't know how long I was looking for that muddy water, but it was longer than any human could survive. But I had to decide that I've taken too long and I couldn't save him. And I had to make the decision to turn around and go home. Sorry. Wasn't able to save Danny. I was so pissed off that my son was killed over $20 to a corporation. Fidelis is owned by a corporation called Centene. 2018, it made $60.1 billion and had a 24% growth by adding managed Medicaid. Program designed for the sickest and poorest among us. Fidelis was paid in advance by federal subsidies. That's our money to take care of our children. And they denied care over not getting another $20 out of the sickest and poorest among us. As Ro Khanna said in his address to the House of Representatives with Danny's story, a healthcare system that doesn't guarantee healthcare for every single person at all times is a system that's broken. I am not taking this sitting down. 2 days after this happened, I tweeted out what happened in anger. And I had 37,000 retweets in 2 weeks. The Independent out of the UK had covered the story, and their readers were disgusted as to how the American healthcare system treats its citizens. They're amazed how a young man can be destroyed over $20. No one over there can understand how that can even happen. And yet we're worried that that's what we might get, is finding our system is disgusting. So I started campaigning for Medicare for All. I've done a couple of conferences and protest rallies. I've did a conference with Amy Bilella out in Portland, Oregon. Not sure if you guys have heard of Amy, but oh my goodness. She lost her daughter, Shalyn. She was like, I believe 23 years old, a nursing student. And she went to the hospital to get checked out for a blood clot, or what she thought might be a blood clot. The ER doctor asked her the same typical question, what's your insurance? Shalyn tells them that she's not really sure because she's between jobs. And the doctor explains to her that these tests are thousands of dollars and she doesn't have that kind of money. Shalyn explains to her that not only is her dad black with a chance of sickle cell, she's also on birth control and she's about to drive for 22 hours. Thousands of dollars and you don't have that money. She goes home and she shows her mom the bruise on her knee. Her mom, like any parents, like, you're probably overreacting, but probably banged on something. I've got a very important meeting to go to. And Amy went to work and like 6 hours later, Shalyn dropped into a coma. By the time Amy got to the hospital, Shalyn was already brain dead. Amy was kicking herself so bad because she was the CFO of an insurance company. It was her job to deny claims to people. Since then, she's been an activist, and she was a surrogate for Bernie in 2016 and ran alongside of Alexandra Cortez with part of the squad. She's a wonderful woman and amazing activist.
So just to clarify, hold on a second. I think I'm getting an echo from, why am I getting an echo?
If I ever get through this story and I'm not upset, then I need to stop.
Exactly right. Let me close this. Okay, I think I'm good now. Okay, I was getting an echo. So Amy, is that?
Yeah, Amy Villela. She
So-
ran in Nevada for House.
So-
Actually, you can check out her documentary on Netflix, Knock Down the House.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
so it was her daughter or her husband, because you kind of broke up there.
It was her daughter.
It's her daughter. So
Shalane. Yeah.
did they deny her daughter care?
They told her that it was thousands of dollars and she couldn't afford it.
So they essentially
Yeah.
denied her care but making it seem like it was her decision. They didn't exactly like
And
deny.
Amy is suing the hospital. With it, with every right.
Yeah, because they should just let her make. Oh, okay. I'm gonna get upset. Well, I am upset.
Yeah. I mean, I've read so many thousands of other stories since my activation. This one story I'd really like to share with people. This woman had a genetic disease, autoimmune disease, and she was treating it herself because her insurance covered it. She became pregnant before the pre-existing conditions of the ACA came into effect. So when her daughter was born, she passed the genetic disease to her daughter, which now had a pre-existing condition and wouldn't be covered by the insurance company. This young mom was treating herself from this disease that she gave to her daughter. That's her view. She gave her daughter this disease, and she was treating herself and let her daughter die from the disease that she was treating herself for. The guilt that poor woman faced is just unbearable. Abby died at 2. It's just disgusting that
So-
we can treat our citizens this way,
So tell me, when exactly was that moment that you said, I have to be the loudest voice, I need to be an advocate? What was it? Just tell me when that moment was.
I was standing in the driveway with all of Danny's brothers and sisters. He's got 2 half brothers, and they were all in the driveway. And I had promised them that I was going to make our lawmakers look me in the eye and see the consequences of their decisions. I restated that same promise to Danny at his funeral in front of everybody. I'm not backing down. I'm just a little old dad in the middle of nowhere. I have nothing. I don't care. I'm sick of being stepped on. But more so, you can't kill my children. And it's sick that I feel bad because I waited this long, because we've all heard these stories, and I didn't care for these other children that were killed. I care now. It took a rude awakening for me to understand.
And I think that is exactly where we all are right now, with COVID and then the Black revolution that's happening right now. We all have been jolted awake. We can no longer go back to how we were living, where it was all about the 1%ers, and the rest of us are just living to make sure that they're rich, and or dying to make sure that their pockets are fat, and we don't even realize that. And like you said, you refuse to be stepped on anymore. That's what we've been allowing to happen. We've been allowing them to kill our children. We've been allowing us to be belittled, to be just oppressed. Is like the biggest, like, nicest word I can say right now, because what I really want to say, I cannot. But this is unfortunately, like you said, your experience is not unique. And nothing that has happened up until George Floyd's death was unique. It had been happening over and over again, and all of us were watching, and we were experiencing or not, or seeing it from afar and saying, that's really sad. But then for some reason, George Floyd's death happened to all of us. And of course, we were in the midst of COVID, that happened to all of us. And so many people were getting sick and wouldn't go to the hospital because of exactly what happened with the young woman's daughter, exactly what happened with your son. They don't have the money. They didn't think they could afford it. They didn't want to make a bill, because medical bills are the largest problem of most poor people's credit. It is the biggest negative on poor people's credit. And that's a damn shame. It shouldn't even be on legally. It's not supposed to be on your credit, but that's how we were living. And so many of us died during COVID because we lacked health care, or we just didn't pay that $20. And we were—
Interesting fact, Teresa. United Health just released their quarterly report during the pandemic. Most health insurance companies run around a 5% profit margin, tucking most of their profits actually in CEO compensation, board members, and paying lobbyists. And then after all that is the 5% profit margin. During this last quarter, it went from 5% to 24%. The whole reason being is people are putting off elective care or preventative care, which will cost lives, because they're forced to because of the pandemic.
Yep.
Furthermore, people losing jobs are now paying COBRA for this care that they were not able to receive, yet the insurance companies didn't change their premiums or their deductibles, knowing that they're getting this increased profit margin. And it gets even more disgusting when the CEO then says he expects the same or better next quarter. People are dying because they're not getting care and they're profiting more. If this isn't a wake-up call as to why we need to remove these greedy middlemen that are doing nothing more than denying care for a profit and killing us. I mean, here's the perfect flag flying right in front of our faces. We can see it. Why are we still supporting this insane system?
So say middleman, that brings me to my next question. What have current elected officials done for you? Like, what has been their response?
I've had both positive and negative responses. Senator Tonko sat me down and had a meeting with me in his office and was going to air everything. And he hasn't been a huge proponent of Medicare for all, but hasn't been against it either. Was a huge proponent of ACA and wrote a large portion of the bill, yet still sat down and talked with me. We also have local Tedra Cobb. I went to the release of her campaign, and she is dead set against Medicare for all. And she horrified me when she turned her back to me and asked the crowd who they're like their private insurance. After she knew that I just said what she calls private insurance, which needs to be returned corporate and medical insurance, because they gave themselves that private insurance tag, just like they also bred the coin and coined the term government-run healthcare. But anyway, I said that private insurance killed my son. She asked that crowd who liked my son's murderers. Maybe she wasn't aware that that's what she was asking, but if you look at it from my point of view, is that not what you would see? If I said Fidelis killed my son, now mind you, that crowd had about 50 people in there, all of them wearing Tedra stickers. 7 of them raised their hand. 7 liked my son's murderers.
Have
But
you
the remainder didn't.
since then?
We've had some brief passings, and she kind of avoided me. I've made sure she knew that I was very unhappy with her position on that and how offended I was by her asking the crowd that. You know.
Any other elected officials or candidates?
Well, yes, I've had a lot of the very progressive, larger candidates, Rashida Tlaib, from I can never say her name, Jayapal, and let's see her, Bertie, of course, and Ro Khanna, Warren Gunnels have all shared Danny's story and supported me massively. Then there was also Kamala Harris, and I butcher her name often too. I don't know if I got it right. Kamala, thank you very much. She shared Danny's story, and we all remember back last year when she was saying she supported Medicare for All. She co-signed Bernie's bill. 3 weeks after she shared Danny's story, though, she introduced a faux plan of Medicare for All. Her plan was to remove private insurance after a 10-year fade-out plan. We all know what happens every 8 years in Congress. We saw what happened to the ACA in 3 years. You don't think that's part of that 10-year phase-out plan? I do. Also, the beginning of it would allow corporate insurers such as Centene to sell Medicare as is with the 80%, 20% gap. Also not including dental, vision, or hearing, which is very big for the Medicare Advantage programs. So then they'd be able to sell those. Medicare Advantage programs have been proven to be the worst offenders of denying claims. So her Medicare for All plan was not a single payer universal plan. It was a gift to my son's murderers. They would have profited and flourished. The 10-year phase out would have never happened, and we all know this. It was a slap in my face. She used my son's suicide as a commercial for his murderers. I also made sure she was aware of that, and yet she has refused to respond. Her first response was to the video where she shared my tweet. That's how I caught her attention. On that tweet, I doubled the retweets and the likes. Her digital campaign crew knew what I was unhappy, yet not a word. Now we hear that she's supporting the ACA, and I guess they're even backing off the only progressive idea they had, which was to destroy Medicare for All movement with a public option. I could explain why that would do that if you need me to.
Sure.
The reason the public option would destroy the Medicare for All movement would be public option would be funded, as we know, by the government. I won't say our taxes because I disagree with that. And if you learn MMT, that would explain it. And you and I have had this discussion. But it would be underfunded and be lower care than you would get with corporate insurance. Corporate insurance would not want the sick on theirs, so they would push them off onto this publicly funded option, which has less care. When everybody starts dying and getting sicker on this public option, corporate insurance says, see, we told you so. And we all know this is true. It also leaves the lobbyists in play that are paying our politicians, which is why we are where we are. When I said I was going to go after the system, I didn't go after Fidelis Care because suing Fidelis Care would have the same exact outcome as everybody else that sued Fidelis Care. It's worked into their budget and paid for by the blood of other Dannys. Not only, even if I were to go for $1, the lawyers that they pay would be paid for the blood of other Dannys. Not going to happen. I don't want to go after Centene. There's a lawsuit in Iowa against Centene where they just paid out like $6.3 billion for killing people the same exact way that they killed Danny. I'm not just going after them because there's outside of Centene, there's other places. There's United Health and other huge conglomerates. There's also the lobbyists. There's the MSM and there's the politicians. All of them are in cahoots together trying to say we don't want health care, that we want corporate contracts that deny us health care. I ain't buying it no more.
So, of course, I'm going to ask, because I know we've spoken about this, but when I am elected, what is the number one thing that you would like me to do for you and everyone else's Danny's out there?
I need you to vote yes on the New York Health Act, which would put New York as the first state to guarantee health care for all of its citizens. We would become the Saskatchewan of the United States, which is how Canada became, with such a great healthcare system.
Everybody goes for their drugs.
They do. And, Canadian citizens retain their citizenship when they move to America so they can go back and get health care.
Yes.
The life expectancy in the United States is far lower than every other country, and we pay twice as much. Now, with the New York Health Act, that actually works different than the federal government as far as taxes. That would be a tax levied system that when you pay your taxes, that money goes towards your health care. Also, it would remove your co-pays, your premiums, your deductibles, and everything else, so you'd end up saving money. Furthermore, the plan is to funnel money from the Medicare and the Medicaid program into the New York Health Act, because everybody that's on Medicaid and Medicare would then be funded through the New York Health Act instead. So the money is there, and we would save money on it, and people would be taken care of. Care is a word in healthcare.
And with that, a lot of that money would free up funding for municipalities to actually put into their infrastructure and actually build up communities that are also lacking not only in healthcare, but other issues as well, which, we know that's a domino effect with mental health illnesses, poverty, just everything that leads up to violence in communities.
Just think about how much your schools pay for the teachers' health care packages. How much every single city official all the way down the line, has to pay for their health care package.
Yep.
I might also remind anybody listening that the New York Health Act has passed the Assembly 4 times already.
Yep.
We are only missing 1 Senate vote. 1. Teresa here, if she passes, she votes a yes for New York Health Act. We can put it on Governor Cuomo's desk and guarantee health care for every single New Yorker in our borders.
I want to point out as well, you had mentioned, I just want to go back a little bit. You were talking about just the type of access to healthcare we would have. And I don't know if you saw my last interview with a young woman from Spain, Rosa, and we were discussing the public, the Medicare for all there that they've had since the 80s. And mind you, they came out of a Marxist system and they went straight into that because everyone was poor. Nobody could afford anything. So it went to the government taking over the healthcare and making state hospitals. And of course, they had their ups and downs, and they're growing towards the insurance system that they have now. But right now, it's like the best option. And people who are wealthy still have the option to choose insurance. If you want to pay for your own insurance, you can. You're not going to be forced into government insurance. You can definitely have your private insurance. But even in Spain, people go, why would you? Like, this is the hospitals, the doctors, the whole system is like the best that anyone could ever ask for. And she said, even wealthy, rich, famous people prefer the state health insurance than buying their own. And they actually say to people, are you crazy? Why do you have private insurance? I hope that we actually get there when we're like, you pay for your own health insurance? Why are you doing that? I hope that we get to that point where New York not only is the poster child by starting to by giving everyone access to healthcare, but also that we are the ones to say to the rest of them, why are you allowing people, why are you keeping healthcare from people in so many terms?
The reason I'd like to say that that Spain system is a bad idea, though, is it does prioritize income-based healthcare. In other words, if you're a wealthy,
you're talking about Spain?
In Spain, yes. In other words, if you have the private insurance or the corporate insurance and you can buy the influence to get your healthcare sooner, when you have a pool of care available, right? And then you take a portion of it and say, this is only for those who can pay for that amount. Then those on the bottom are put off.
No. It's not when you get to this amount, to this, like you're not able to. They just keep it as an option. It's just
right. But
yeah, it's not like
obviously
built in.
you're not going to pay for the insurance because they can't afford it.
Yeah.
Which means that if you can afford to get treated sooner, the poor then have to be put back further in the waiting line.
Yeah, and we talked about that too. And she said actually that's she's never had that issue. And I know that's one of the arguments too, right? Is that if you can afford to move up the line, so to speak, then you can. But in Spain, apparently, to her experience and her family's experience, that's not how it is. They mostly look at people like, why would you pay for it when everyone has access, everyone has equal access, and everyone has equal opportunity to get healthcare. So it's not like I pay more, so I'm going to jump the line. It's not like that. At least that's not how she described it to me. She said, no, if you need help, and especially she shared her story. She thought it would have taken a while because, other people are sick as well. But she said, no, it actually, within a couple of days, within a week, she was able to get treated for a very serious illness. And she was really happy and satisfied with the care that she received. She was treated as if she was the millionaire. And she said at the same time that she had surgery, the famous politician, millionaire, was in the hospital with her, in the same hospital, in the same public hospital.
And with the New York Health Act, that
says a lot.
The system we would be on as well, because New York can't say you can't buy insurance. I believe, like in the bill S1129 from Bernie Sanders and HR 1384 from Representative Jayapal, they do say there is no duplicative insurance that you can offer. Which would mean, and what's really good about that, we also got to remember with Medicare for All, not only being a single payer universal system, that means our politicians that are voting on the laws as to what kind of health care we receive would be the same kind of plan that their children and themselves are on. Mm-hmm. That is the goal we're looking for. We want what they have. And why not? Because we're paying for it.
We're already paying for 3 of these systems.
And we're paying for their health care, but they don't want to give us the same health care that they're receiving. We're saying, yes, we should all be treated like human beings. We shouldn't have our children dying because they missed a $20 payment that they weren't even aware of,
That's right. That's right. I've actually been there before, but my situation never became that serious where it was a life or death issue because I lacked, that medicine that was, keeping me, healthy. It just one day, I think an hour's mine, actually, it was $9. It was $9, same insurance company, $9. And I had gone to the doctor and it's like, you don't have this insurance. It's canceled. I was like, how is that? Why? And it was just a regular checkup for the kids.
Right.
And I said, okay. So I had to go back and forth, and call people and go different places and offices to get it reinstated. And then I had a bill, but of course they went back and paid for it because I was like, why didn't anyone ever tell me it was $9?
Well, I think what really, blows my mind with Danny is the whole fact that risperidone has a known suicidal risk.
Yes.
Fidelis knows this. You know, everybody knows when you prescribe a medication such as this, you don't come off it right away because it induces a chemical imbalance that triggers suicidal thoughts. If I were to get drunk out of my mind and get behind the wheel and kill somebody, that's manslaughter, and justifiably so, because I knew when I drank and got behind the wheel, I could kill somebody. When they denied that medication to my son and so many millions of others every single day, they know there's a chance, no, they know there's a percentage of people that will die. They do it knowing it to save money. That's legalized manslaughter. You know, and our politicians smile and say, this is what we want.
No.
This is not what we want.
Every time you share your story, Scott, it hurts so much. Like I have to fight not to cry. I get like this knot right here. I'm like drinking water, trying to smooth it out, and my chest hurts so bad. And I get really anxious, and like I just want to get out there and really fight really hard, so that we can stop this from happening again. It hurts so much. And actually my team was messaging me, and they was like, every time it hurts so much, and we feel your pain.
You know,
and I remember the first time you told me the story. I remember the first time, and you remember I said, can I hug you? I'm not a hugger, believe it or not. I am not a hugger, but I was like, you hurt so much, and then I was hurting so much. I felt like I lost my son. Remember? And I was like, is it okay? Can I hug you?
I certainly hope Tony Kennedy is watching right now. We just had a discussion earlier about how the nurses, and I shouldn't do this because I'm setting myself up here. I said that the nurses are all so huggy.
Yeah.
I'm not a huggy person. I share this story with groups of nurses all the time.
We can't help it.
And I told her, when you tell nurses that you're not a huggy person, they think this is funny. They think that this bubble is made to be broken. My bubble's not made to be broken.
But I ask, because I think it's because, as a nurse, when it's past that point where we can no longer help, we want to show that we still feel like we can do something for you, give you some comfort, give you some security, and make you feel better at that moment, because we couldn't before. So we have to do something.
I get it. I know better than to say no to a nurse either.
All right. So I think we are well over, but that's okay, because it's an awesome conversation. And I wish we didn't have to stop, but I'm sure. And then my cat has just woken up. Remember, I told you she likes to do things when I'm on Zoom, and now she's starting to act crazy. So perfect timing. Before she jumps on the piano, I'm going to say good night to you, Scott. I'll see you on social media. I'll see you Saturday. And do you want to plug your, please do.
Yes, thank you very much for that opportunity. Saturday, we have a National Nurses United sign holding event that I'm hosting in front of Fidelis Care, Regional Office, 31 British American Boulevard in Latham. We ask that everybody maintain all the CDC guidelines, wear a mask, bring your own signs, because this way we can limit cross-contamination and respect the 6-foot social distancing limits.
Any ideas that you want to give people for signs that would be perfect for this event?
That, you can design your own Medicare for All sign, or if you want, you can find me on social media, either through Twitter or on Facebook, Scott Desnoyers 07. I don't know where that came from, but I can send you a PDF that National Nurses United has that you can have printed out. I think it's like $13 at Walmart, and they can get it done within an hour. Or you could just get a piece of poster board and just write Medicare for All on it. I mean, whatever you want to do, anything you want to do to show up and show your support. It's only going to be a half-hour event from 1 to 1:30. This is nationwide, though. National Nurses is having different events like this nationwide. They're going to take all the photographs and videos, and they're going to upload it and have it big, huge digital event with it.
And we'll post that on our Facebook as well. Paul, if you're out there listening, just make sure that we get Scott's event up there. But I know there's a limit as to how many people can be there, right?
They said that you should only have about 15. Anybody that wants to show up and support me, I'm not going to turn them away and say, no, don't show a sign. I just ask you that you maintain the CDC guidelines.
Okay.
As long as we're safe, I think we're okay. I mean, we have to do what we have to do to make sure people hear our voices.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
For the New York Health Campaign.
I didn't hear you. What are we doing with?
Did Paul put up the link for the New York Health Campaign for us?
I don't know. I'm not looking at it. And he didn't send me a message.
Yeah, there's also a link that I'll make sure it gets shared.
Oh yes, please.
New York Campaign for New York Health. It's asking for everybody that wants to share their healthcare stories during the pandemic to, share their story with them. It's got a little survey. It doesn't take too long to fill out. We really appreciate everybody that wants to help us and get their story and message out there as to why
That's
we
right.
really need change.
We're in the midst of a Black revolution and a healthcare revolution, people. We cannot stop fighting. Our lives depend on it. Get registered to vote. Vote. You can vote by absentee now. Get me in there so that we can pass this New York Health Act, and also get counted in your census. It is very important that you get counted. That means money to your district, money to your city, money to your neighborhood, money to your streets, and money for your schools. It's so important to get counted in your census. And this also goes into healthcare needs as well. So please, 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 we're in the midst of a revolution, a triple revolution. So please, we'll post everything that Scott has mentioned here on our website. And thank you so much, Scott. Thank you so much. I'm gonna go have a good cry and a glass of wine, and I will see you Saturday, Scott.
Look forward to seeing you. And Emma made sure that I had to tell you and your daughters hi. She's your own fan club. I'm not sure if you're aware of it.
Oh, okay, I will tell her. I will tell the girls that she said hi. We're gonna have to get them on a Zoom or something.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Teresa. Bye-bye now.
Bye.